It's Mourinho's first return to a competitive match back in England after he was sacked by Tottenham. You remember that famous morning you and I were on? You were doing your duster about the Super League.
Indeed.
And then the news came to us Mourinho had been sacked.
Yes.
Just days before Tottenham were due to go into the League Cup final. Sacked in the build-up to a final. And then yesterday, Brendan Rodgers was asked about that. And of course, it wasn't lost on him that Mourinho had been sacked in the build-up to a final. And here he is, back in the UK. Same kind of feeling, no?
There's a lot been said about Jose over many years, but for me, he is such a special manager. You know, one of the greats of our generation. I suppose when I was a young coach and I look back on all the managers that I've ever worked with, and for me at that time, if you think of Jose back in 2004 when I joined Chelsea and he had just joined in the summer, Jose was a guy that everyone wanted to be like. It gave young coaches hope.
Now that's interesting. All these years on, that was then. Let's talk about now. Is Mourinho still the same kind of coach that all the others want to be like?
Is he the same kind of coach? If there's certain aspects of Mourinho.
It's a simple question.
No, because I'm thinking it through. Because I don't think the answer is simple. It's a nuanced answer. The answer is.
What does that mean? A nuanced answer?
Is he the same sort of coach you want to be? Certain aspects of it, yes. Because I admire his desire to make sure that players understand who's in charge, who runs the football club, who they play for. We've got this situation now in football, specifically at Man United, where you've got the cart in front of the horse. You've got the players at the most important thing, and the poor old bloody manager gets to take all the responsibility of what the players won't do and herald the arrival of Ronaldo and everything that goes with it, and it's not necessarily the right order. The other side of it, I don't think he's as flexible as the modern game requires. I think he's a little bit stuck in a routine of doing things in a certain way.
You've changed your tune.
No, I've never changed my tune.
Yes, you have.
I've never jumped into the camp that you've been in, which is the constant degradation of Mourinho.
That's nonsense. And that was only so that you could grovel to him when he came in.
The only time you didn't degrade him was when you were following him behind him with a trail of saliva, wanting to speak to him.
That's nonsense.
In the hallway when he was here last.
No, that was you kowtowing and bowing.
But to answer your question, I think he's a phenomenal coach. I have been an absolute supporter of his for as long as I can remember. I don't agree with everything he does and everything he says. I don't think he should have based himself on the Lowry. He should have been in Manchester, driving that team rather than sort of half batting his eyes back at London.
If you'd ever had the chance, would you have appointed Mourinho as your manager?
Of course.
You couldn't work with Mourinho.
Of course you could. He's a top quality manager. You've got top quality people.
You told me once you couldn't work with Souness because you were too alike.
I couldn't work with Souness because I felt
Mourinho's single-minded, so are you.
Well, it's a single. No, I just felt that at that particular time, with Graham's career at the stage it was at, what Graham didn't need was me.
He's told me that.
I needed Graham. I wasn't one to ask Graham to come and have a chat with me.
Yeah, but Mourinho wouldn't need you either because
depends
you'd be
upon who
domineering for him.
No, but it depends who I was owning. If I was owning Tottenham Hotspur, if I was owning Chelsea, different dynamic. If I'm owning Crystal Palace, the balance of power probably lies with the higher profile manager. And in that instance, Graham Souness was a slightly bigger name than Crystal Palace was at that time. But also, I was a really up and at it chairman. And Graham's sitting there thinking, I've just come out of Newcastle. I'm thinking, do I want to manage anymore? Do I need this firebrand of a chairman in my ear? And that was the point I was making with Graham. And I think it would have actually been a good relationship. So it's not a case of we didn't need one another. I think Graham probably didn't need what he perceived me to be. He'd be wrong, by the way, because I'm the greatest supporter of managers that you can possibly want. But with Mourinho, no, I am. I'm a great supporter of managers.
How many did you sack?
No, people got what they deserved.
Oh,
they didn't get. No one got unfairly sacked by me. None of them were surprised. They knew it was coming because they actually merited it.
Somebody clipped that up.
And some of these managers, the only thing that was holding them up was their suits. Now, in this instance, with Mourinho, I have never been anything other than an admirer of his. I don't like his attitude towards the end of the Manchester United thing. I do think that sometimes football people disappear up their own backsides and get carried away with what they don't get rather than what they have got. But there's never been a case where I've been sat here, and you have been sitting there, he's a dinosaur, he's a done deal, there's darkness, wherever he goes, he brings chaos. And I don't believe that. What he won't do...
So he wasn't at either United or Tottenham?
No. Well,
bringing darkness
what they
into
needed
a light
at Manchester
room.
United was Jose Mourinho getting a hold of a few of those players. That's precisely what they needed.
If only the listeners and the viewers on YouTube and Facebook could have seen you when allegedly Mourinho walked in this studio. Apparently,
do I have to get involved in this?
You really fell over trying to bow to him.
What we can actually do is we can actually we can enlighten them, because we can show them what actually happened. When Mourinho walked through the door and thanked me for my comments, and I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, you're bloody useless, and burst out laughing. So actually, what you're saying is a complete contrast to what happened. But what actually happens when you do your little salivating bit, and we all have to put bibs on because we're getting covered in the saliva of you spontaneously combusting because somebody vaguely recognisable comes in the room. So don't you start.
Spencer Oliver's coming in a second. He's vaguely recognisable.
We could drown him, couldn't you? It's how high he's at.
Let's round this off. Is he still an inspirational manager?
Yes.
Today?
Yes. Ask Tammy Abraham what he thinks of him.
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham.
Does he have anything left to prove?
To himself, possibly, because you want to keep winning. You're only as good as what you do next. If you want to live on the past, then that's where you are confined to.
Yeah.
So he will consistently... Why does he keep taking jobs? Doesn't need the money, does he? He's gone to Roma on a project that is a challenging one. Fonseca was in there. You know, he wasn't doing a great job. They've got a billionaire owner, American billionaire owner, that wants to put this club forward. He's taken Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham the other day was raving about him.
True.
So, yes, I think he is for a certain type of player, and for a certain type of player that understands that actually who's the boss, who they account to, what their responsibility is, and what their end game has to be.
Yeah.
That's where Mourinho thrives in, and not in this country where somehow, for whatever reason, they've waited for him. They've waited for him in my famous long grass. They've waited for him because he once upon a time said what he was going to do and then proved it. And whilst we like it in one hand, we don't like it in another, because what we like to do is build him up so we can whittle them down. And we whittled Mourinho down by saying he's a dinosaur, he's darkness, he's in the other. He's an outstanding coach, and he still is an outstanding coach. Now, whether he's as good as Guardiola and Klopp in the timelines that we're talking about now, maybe he's just a little bit different.
They bring light into a dark room.
I'm not sure that's right. I think they've got the zeitgeist right now. I wonder how Mourinho would get on if he was given the group of players he had at Manchester City. Some people will say, shut up, because he's not only got that group of players, he's increased them. Some people would say, specifically you, shut up. But Guardiola has increased the performance of those players. So maybe there's an argument to be said that Mourinho wouldn't have done that.
Are you auditioning for a part in some Shakespearean play?
It's me,
very animated.
It's me, myself and Irene, isn't it? Shut up. No, shut up yourself. Shut up.
So who do you take to get to the final, Leicester or Roma?
Roma.
I'll go Leicester. We'll have a wager on that. And none of your kind of crazy money.
Chisora, will you?
Chisora. If you are listening, Derek Chisora, you owe Simon Jordan £100. Give it to me next time you see me, and I'll put it on Leicester.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.